We just finished the Steam Next Fest, and I think it's safe to say we kind of had the best possible outcome you could expect. We participated with our game MO98, which is an incremental game. We started development on it about 7.5 weeks ago, and now we participated in the Steam Next Fest, something that universally everyone told us was a stupid thing to do. And I still think to a certain degree that was a stupid thing to do to participate in Steam Next Fest. However, we are currently at 10,753 wishlists in about 13 days, basically. The first wishlist and when this Steam page went live was on the 18th of February. I'm recording this on the 3rd of March. So basically 2 weeks have passed and we're at almost 11,000 wishlists. Here you can see as well, we have some Steam Next Fest statistics of the wishlists purely from the last 7 days. Steam Next Fest, 9,916. Could they really not have given us 80 more? I'm just pretending we got 10k wishlists from the Steam Next Fest, because the last time that I checked also our outstanding wishlists before the Steam Next Fest started, we were at 510. It's gone up a little bit more. I'm just saying 10k wishlist has been achieved. And I want to just make this video to talk a little bit about what happened and what are some of my thoughts of like why this happened, and share some more of the stats, because I think some important things have happened, or more importantly, haven't happened. If you're looking for a blueprint on how to get 10,000 wishlists for your own game as well, unfortunately, I do not have one. That's kind of what I realized as well, because I'm going to be honest. People asked me like, oh, what did you expect going into the Steam Next Fest? And my bare minimum goal that I wanted to beat for this game was 1,000 wishlists. We're at 10,000 now. I didn't expect it. Like, the best case scenario for me would have been 2,000, and we beat that after 2 days, basically. I also have here, you can see the daily wishlist actions graph. This is from when the Steam page launched. So Steam page launched on the 18th of February. And then here we had a first little spike. This was before the Next Fest, 224 wishlists. What happened is that this article was written about us. 4Gamer wrote that, which is a Japanese media outlet. I did not reach out to them or anything. This just happened. Like one day I woke up and I checked the wishlist. I'm like, oh, did we get anything? And there was something like 240, all from Asia, basically. That was a very nice surprise, but it was not something that I reached out for. We're going to talk about Prez a little bit later still, because they did have an impact. And then after that article, you can see like, you know, wishlists went down again to like 50 a day, something like that. Like not that many. And then the Steam Next Fest started, and then we went from like day 1, which is like half a day, 379, day 2, 1,246 in a day, 998 in a day. It just keeps going up, where we got over 2,000 wishlists by the end of the Steam Next Fest. This is also just such a stupid graph in terms of like how it's shooting up for a prolonged period of time that I'm not used to. Also, wishlist by country. United States for once is our #1 country. If you've been an OG biter, you know that usually Japan is always our #1 country. It's #2 now, but there is a pretty big difference. Brazil mentioned, and then Germany, UK, Russia. I think this is a very standard distribution of wishlists, apart from Japan, which is because we had one more article being written about us. This was one by Automaton. I made a video with their like editor-in-chief 2 years ago or something at this point, where we talk about like, hey, how do you get your game covered by press? I sent them this message, I think on the 22nd or something, because I was like, hey, if 4Gamer picked it up, there's a pretty big chance that they're also going to cover it. They did cover it. The important thing with like Automaton is also not just the fact that they write this article, but it's also that they post about it on their XD Everything app account, and that one I think got also like 100,000 views or something like that. I don't have the stat up immediately. Where else did we get these wishlists from? Because Steam Next Fest is one thing, and most of these wishlists came, I would say, organically through Steam Next Fest. There were a few other things that we did as well. One simple stupid one was we put our game on Incremental DB. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really think this had a massive impact. Also, Incremental DB generally didn't like MO98, and there were some issues with our web build. We put it on there because the amount of effort required to put a game on Incremental DB is pretty low, but I think in terms of like traffic, this wasn't really that high. I think another one that maybe had some good impact, at least, that we did once the Next Fest had already started, was Reddit. So we're, I think, like 2 or 3 days into the Next Fest, and I was talking to another developer, and I'm like, yeah, the game is performing better than I expected. And they were like, hey, you should make a Reddit post about this on the Incremental Game subreddit. I ended up doing that. Very simple one. I'm an ex-Cisco architect, make you a Windows 98 style incremental where you expand an SimtemStudios server infrastructure, demo out now. I posted this on the Incremental Game subreddit. I'm gonna be honest, I thought this was gonna get like 2 upvotes and it was going to be instantly deleted, because Reddit is not my strong suit. That's also why I hadn't uploaded anything on Reddit before, because I'm like, I do not understand how this platform works, so probably I'm just going to offend a bunch of people. Now, clearly that didn't happen because we're sitting at 450 upvotes. It's a top 1% post in this community, 53 comments as well, and people generally do seem to like it. We got a lot of feedback as well of people who played the game, and they had a lot of thoughts and all of that. We'll dive into the feedback later on, but I was surprised how much people like this game. I honestly did not expect the game to be this good and be able to be played for this long. Now, one thing that I want to talk about as well is that this is a message that I had from Steam from a few years ago, where I asked about like, hey, what can I talk about on this YouTube channel? One thing that I will not be covering in this video is impression data or UI related to impressions, because big Steam sends me like, hey, let's not talk about it. What I am going to talk about, which I think is kind of fine, is UTM traffic. So these are some of the things I'm like, okay, yeah, we got 60,000 views on Reddit, but what does that actually mean? And something that I did when I posted this is like, this looks like a normal URL, right? Just like MO98. However, if I go here and I like edit the link, you can see that this is actually a longer one. This is a UTM link in disguise. It just doesn't show the UTM tags at the back. So what is a UTM link? I don't know what UTM means, but basically it allows you to track more granularly where does traffic come from. So then on Steam, you have this section as well of like UTM analytics, where certain websites will send bonus metadata, or like in the URL, basically information about where you come from. So for example, for Gamer, they have a UTM tag that's like article widget. And I can see now, okay, in this For Gamer article, they have somewhere here a link to the game. I'm not sure where exactly. I think doesn't really matter. And then we can see every time someone clicks on it, 200 people clicked on it, 197 were trusted or whatever. I'm not sure the difference trusted in total, whatever. It comes down to 68 people wishlisted the game from that 4Gamer. Now, this doesn't account, of course, for people who see the name, don't click on the link, and then later on go to Steam and then type in the name manually. That's something you can't track, but it was still an interesting thing to track. So we also did a similar thing for the Incremental Games subreddit post, where we're sitting at 250 tracked wishlists. So once again, these are people who immediately clicked on this link and then ended up wishlisting the game. This is not people who saw like, oh, the game's name is MO98 and I'm going to look it up myself as well. How do you make these UTM tags? I just want to give a quick shout out to this as well. There's a very simple website that I use, UTM Builder, where you just put in your URL. So for example, your Steam store page URL, and then you have to fill in like the source, the medium, and the campaign. I just put up some stuff like source is like social media, the medium is Reddit. This could be like YouTube, for example. And then the campaign in this case is like Incremental Games. And then you get this link here. This is your tracking URL. And then you just use that for that specific thing. UTM links is something you usually use more if you do things like advertising, because that allows you to very easily track, okay, how much money do I spend and then how many wishlists do I get out of it? We don't do any advertising on this, but I think it was still interesting. I think something else that was very interesting is this UTM tag, the Game Next Fest demo. This is basically a theory that I had, or not a theory, but you know how you play like games and then sometimes they have this button inside of the game that is like a wishlist now, that if you click it, it just goes to the Steam store page. I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was just pure bullshit. Like, who clicks that? You're already playing the game, which means you've already downloaded the game from Steam anyway. Maybe if you get it from like itch.io, it's like a different story, or if you're playing it on a web build like Crazy Games. We weren't doing that, but I was like, you know what? I'm still going to put the UTM link in there. And we got 150 wishlists of people who were playing the demo and then who click on that button and then who still ended up wishlisting. And total clicks is way higher, 1,260. I am honestly very surprised about it. So I guess the thing you learn from this is do put that seemingly obnoxious wishlist button in your game as well, because clearly it still does something. This is 150 wishlists. Now, I don't know what the actual impact is of the Incremental Games subreddit post, but 240 wishlists, it seems like okay. At the end of the day, it's a small percentage of the 10,000 we got. I think algorithmically, the Steam Next Fest did a lot for us as well. Also because we were often, if you looked at the idler tag, in like top 10 in terms of total people playing. Something else that I want to talk about is also the growth. So we saw like our graph here of like wishlist actions and it goes up. Something that I was personally glued to is this, the Steam charts of how many people are right now playing our demo, because Steam wishlist only updates like once every 1.5 hours or something. And I think this was also just so interesting in how spiky this graph was, as in this seems like very much tied to when are there more users on Steam versus when aren't there more users on Steam. And every day it kind of kept going up. And also, funnily enough, every day I'm like, okay, we're going down again. We're like 50 now. It's over. We're never going to recover from this. The Steam Next Fest is over now, so I think it's going to drop down a significant amount now. But I remember like seeing, this was the Steam Next Fest. Like when the Steam Next Fest started, we were like 25 and we peaked up to 50. Which was already, honestly, more than I expected. I think this was, this little spike here was when we did a live stream with like, you guys, our audience, you were like, hey, go and play the demo. And it was like 10 concurrent users. Like, okay, this wasn't amazing. I was kind of like doubting myself, like, is this game actually good? And then it dropped down. And then this was before the Next Fest started, because it's like UTC. So Next Fest only started in the evening PST time, so Pacific Standard Time. It picked up a little bit more on its own. I don't know what exactly did it here. And then once the Next Fest started, yeah, it kept going up. And then we peaked all-time high of 131, which I would say is a pretty solid, substantial number. Now, there's one other thing that we did marketing-wise that I honestly cannot really explain to you what the magic sauce was. Okay, this is in Dutch. This is not Bite Me Games, the channel that you're watching this video on. This is different channel, these analytics. This is Bite Me's Games. So one of the things that I talked about is I want to kind of separate Bite Me Games, the game studio, and Bite Me Games, the channel you're watching now, which is like game developers. I want to pull those a little bit more apart and be like, you know, letting them stand alone, because that is not like a complaint or like it's some feedback that I get that just makes me like annoyed, is when people are like, oh, the only reason you guys had like success with this game is because you had a pre-existing audience. And that's kind of the point of like, I just shadow dropped this trailer. And the goal of this trailer also wasn't marketing purposes. The goal of this trailer was just to have something that I could put on my press kit so that if I send an email to Automaton, I can be like, hey, here is the link to the announcement trailer. And that was it basically. It had like a few hundred views. It wasn't really much. Like you can see here, like first 8 hours, we got 763 views. It kept on climbing pretty slow. And then after 3 days, we hit like 10K. And then it suddenly algorithmically just blew up. I don't know why. I have no idea. I really don't know, honestly. We also did not reach out to IGN or Game Trailers or whatever, because once again, I don't think this trailer was that good even. Like you can see, like we also did it for Pripyat Zero, and Pripyat Zero, like this trailer got nothing. And now we're at like almost 100,000 views basically. We got so many comments as well of people really liking the game and like the vibe and all of that, and like the demo is amazing. This game has had very, very positive reviews. It's like reception and all of that. And you know, the secret is just make a good game is like what some people are waving around, but I don't even know, is the game really that good? This trailer did a decent amount of traffic as well. Now, not as much as you might think. I'm not gonna go into the full impression stats, like I said, because of this, but in terms of people, there's a link in this video in the trailer that links to Steam, just like play the demo now. It doesn't have a UTM link, it's just a regular link. We have about 3,000 clicks on this traffic. So 100,000 views translates to 3,000 clicks. Because they're not UTM links, I cannot track like how many of those actually did wishlist, but still people clearly seemed to vibe with this concept, with this visual style and all of that. And that brings me to kind of the point that gives me the most hope for the future of like, okay, we're at 10,000, 11,000 wishlists right now. If we look up MMO98 on YouTube, there is no content creator coverage basically. This is the biggest content creator, which is some Japanese, this guy actually also covered Forge Industry like 3 years ago, but it's at 2,000 views. 2,000 views is not really that much. And then the rest is just like some people who play like Steam demos with like 150 views, no views, no views, no views, 190 views, and that's it. And now we go into completely unrelated SEO stuff. Nobody really, also if you look at like Google search, there are just not that many things about our game yet. Not a single big idle game, incremental game, strategy game, whatever, like gaming YouTuber has picked up on this game yet. And that makes me kind of believe that, you know, getting 15,000 wishlists should be more than doable if we get a few content creators out. Maybe even more. Right now, we're not going to push out for content creators yet. So we didn't push out for content creators in general because the demo was only done 2 days before the Steam Next Fest. And I was like, I'm not gonna be that guy who sends that very, very last minute email to content creators of like, oh my god, I just released my demo, please go and play it, when they already have so many other people who have been emailing them for weeks already of like, hey, here's early access to my demo, here's all of that. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna use this Steam Next Fest, and we know that it's not gonna be optimal. This was very much a combination of like get lucky and make good game as well. And I have like some other theories of like why this performed that well, but they are very much like not stuff that I would suggest you guys to do, because it's like borderline gambling, I would say. I'll maybe dive into it in a later video when I've done like more research on it, or like I have a better sample size of my theory there. But I think we can make this number go up still. Now, what does this change for development? That's another question we often get, and the answer is not really much. We have some very clear validation now that people enjoyed this game. We made this little post as well that went live a few hours ago of like, hey, here's everything you can expect from the Steam Next Fest. We got 10,000 wishes, thank you for that. We're not going to update the demo for a while now. We are going to focus purely on developing the game now for, I would say, another month, basically. We are sticking to our short-scoped, short game timeline. We want to release this game. Current date, which is like non-hard commit, is April 20th. Can be April 20th, can be April 27th. Second half of April is currently the plan for releasing the full game. A few weeks before, we want to have the game 98% done already, so we can reach out to content creators, and that's going to be our big push of send the build out to content creators and be like, hey, go and play this. That's another thing of like, if we get content creators to cover the demo, and then a month later, you're like, hey, here's the full game. I think they're also just going to be like, bro, I played this game less than a month ago. Why would I cover it again? So I'm like, okay, let's just save everything up. We have some very, very good social proof now that people like this game and they care about this game. So I think there's more of a chance now that if I send an email to a content creator, or I make a release trailer and I send that one to IGN or Game Trailers, that they're going to want to cover the game as well. Something else, of course, is that we are guaranteed in popular upcoming. Once in SteamDB, you can see like that you have a number in top wish lists. This means you're part of popular upcoming. This starts at 4,500. We're now at 2,814. That's probably going to be another 1,000, 2,000 wish lists, because we're going to be part of that popular upcoming category. I think all these things combined do indicate that this is going to be by far Bite Me Games' most successful game. Pricing wise, we're also looking at $6 for this game. We want to add some more content, but we feel like the bones are very good. There were some pieces of feedback that we always kept on getting. I also talk about it here, where people were just so sick and tired of hearing the fucking gnome talk, and they're like, just shut up. We wanted more automation. The skill tree was kind of borked because I made the skill tree 2 days before the demo went live. And then some other stuff. We're planning on like adding 1 or 2 more late game mechanics, but otherwise we're just going to focus on making the current game better. I think one other stat that I quickly want to pull up that I didn't cover before is the playtime. This has a very good playtime. This has actually only kept going up. This started at 25 minutes at the start of Next Fest. We're now looking at an average playtime for the demo of 1 hour. Once again, this was something that I didn't expect. I thought if this demo is 30 minutes tops, I'm already happy. 15 to 30 minutes was I thought what it was gonna take to finish this. Whereas I now have like multiple reports of like people that I like sent the game to as well, and then they message like, bro, 6 hours has just passed by, and they just go and they go and they go. Even though we didn't really optimize this demo for like playtime. Like we just put a very arbitrary hard cap as well of like you can do 5 sequels in the game, and then you get like a fake blue screen of that, and it's like, okay, this is the demo limit. You can like start over or you can wishlist the game, but that's it basically. So I am pretty happy with this. This is the same amount of average time played. This is more than we did with Overtime Anomaly, and I think it's the same amount as Kyoto Anomaly and Unicycle Pizza Time, but this is for just the demo. So I feel like, you know, okay, it's a different genre. This is an incremental game. Once again, this is a very clear indicator that what we're doing seems to be pretty okay, at least. Like people are really enjoying it. One other thing that I just want to, I don't know, go into, that's not really wishlist related, but it is something that I did, and I think more developers should do it, especially if they're like at this scale still, it is doable. You just respond to as much content as you can. Okay, this was kind of nothing to talk about, but like every time someone wrote feedback, and this is like, you know, it's semi-painful to read this because it's always like, this is what's wrong with your baby. Your beautiful baby has a lot of problems. You still need to respond to it, I think. You as a developer, this is your power. You are not a soulless company. You are an indie game. You are a very human developer. And I'm surprised that people are also very nice in like their answers once you actually respond to them and give them feedback and be like, hey, these are good things. You need to kind of become a customer service rep. But there was this very controversial post of like, please just remove the AI generated art. We used to have placeholder art for the in-game box art. And there was this big ass thread of like people who were like, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad. And it's like, you just respond to it. And you talk like a normal human being. You don't stick your head in the sand. You like explain, hey, this is my perspective. This is how we're gonna move forward. And you just keep doing that basically. Every time there's a bug, you go and you talk to people. We did that same thing on Reddit as well. Every time someone had a big post, Bite Me Games was there, I was there, and I just wrote all of the feedback. One, people feel like, you know, more, I feel like they're gonna convert more because, you know, you give them attention, you give them response, which is something that is kind of rare at this point. And two, you get a lot of feedback that even though you don't want to read it because it's like, oh, I already know this, I don't want to listen to it, whatever, it is still extremely important for you to know that. And this video has been going on for a while now, but I think overall, those are the main things that I want to talk about. If there's other questions, if there's other things, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll try to respond to those as well, or like make like follow-up videos of like certain questions that you have. But yeah, I think this might still become the year that Bite Me Games becomes the $1 million studio. It started kind of as a joke at the start of the year, or like a catchphrase, but this is very good signals at least, and we want to keep going. We're not going to delay the game. I don't think there's need to delay the game. We have actually written out like somewhat of a roadmap of like what are some of the things that we want to do, and we're going to be working on that now, but it's not as big as we kind of expected. So thank you very much for watching. If you're new here, we upload 2 videos every week talking about the game development process and the things that we learn along the way. So if that is something that you're interested in, be sure to head down below and subscribe, and you'll be notified whenever we upload another video. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye!